Hey, Wim.
Hi guys and
How you
girls.
doing?
Fine, you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Słuchajcie, dobra, witamy Was na drugim meetingu. Dzisiaj jestem sam, Barta nie ma. Trochę się boimy tutaj problemów technicznych, gdybyśmy się mieli we trzech połączyć, bo jednak z tym internetem przy takiej pogodzie to jest ciężko. Naszym gościem jest Wim Blumen, świetny grillmaster z Belgii. Tak, to on właśnie. Fantastyczny grillmaster z Belgii, uczestnik konkursów barbecue, sędzia konkursów barbecue, dodatkowo współpracuje czy współpracował podobnie jak ja z firmą Weber, więc na pewno tutaj wielbiciele Webera będą mogli mieć kilka pytań o te sprzęty do niego. No i co? I będziemy chyba zaczynać. Mam tu parę pytań przygotowanych dla niego. Ja przede wszystkim postaram się położyć nacisk na te konkursy, bo to jest temat, który jakby tutaj nawet dla mnie jest to jakaś nowość, tak? My nie jeździmy za dużo na konkursy w naszym kraju, więc zaczynamy. Jak macie jakieś pytania, to cały czas zadawajcie tam w komentarzach. Bart czai się i spisuje wszystko i potem wszystko to przyślę i zapytamy Wima o to. Okay, Wim, so I want to ask you, let's start with maybe with the recent history, the last 2 years. Tell me about last 2 years. How did COVID change your work? Did you have to adjust? What happened since 2020, since the beginning of 2020?
For me personally, everything changed completely. I was a menswear retailer for 20 years, and I closed my store, and I became a professional barbecuer. So
that's a good thing, I think. Yeah, very good.
Everything changed. Everything.
Tell me about your products now. What do you do? Because I checked the wraps, the barbecue wraps.
Mm-hmm.
What about the sets you are selling? What is it? I've seen something on the website.
No, what it is I started doing takeaway barbecue during COVID, during the lockdown here in Belgium, because, well, I had basically no income anymore. The store was gone, and there was no funding or whatever. There were no workshops. There was nothing. I had my truck. I had the barbecues. I had the equipment. So I just started doing takeaway barbecue in front of my door where I live, just on the street. And that went really well, actually. People were interested in having some American-style barbecue here in Belgium. They loved it, and I'm still doing that today. What you see on the menu is the boxes or the combos is some barbecue boxes that I make, and I do now ship them all over Belgium.
This is absolutely fantastic story because the same happened to me actually. I started baking focaccia using grills, and this is actually my #1 business right now. So yeah, I can imagine the change. So Wim, because I'm really curious about competitions, your history with competitions. Could you tell us a few words about competitions? How does it look? Because where to start? You know, in Poland we have maybe 2 teams who took some part in some competitions. I don't know if they succeeded, but probably the competition itself is a great success to take part in it. But if I'm an amateur barbecue guy in Poland now, if I start thinking about going to some competition in USA or in Europe, what should I think about? How to master the recipes? What equipment should I use? I don't know, some special documents I have to do to take part, for example, in overseas competition. What is your experience? Please tell me.
Okay. I started doing competitions back in 2012. What we started there was culinary style. Making the fancy plates like in a restaurant and doing all that stuff. We did that 2 times. We became Belgian champion for dessert. And after that, we discovered KCBS. the American style of doing barbecue competitions, and we never did anything else after that. So maybe a quick question for you. Is there a KCBS competition in Poland?
Sorry, is what?
Is there a KCBS barbecue competition in Poland?
I mean, a competition itself? No, I don't think so. There are some guys who, like you, probably have a judge papers, I think. But there's actually there's none in Poland, I think.
And nobody is organizing or something. No.
I mean, you know, I was a judge in one steak competition, but I never seen a barbecue competition. Sorry, no. There was one organized by the Stowarzyszenie Grilla and Barbecue, but that's a Polish society. So, and it was around 3 years ago, something like this.
Okay.
But we are like, you know, we are Virgin Island here. You know, we really don't do too much in this field.
Well, I would get KCBS in your country as soon as possible. Somebody has to stand up and organize a competition because it's so much fun. What to me the most fun is the level play field. I mean, when you cook the culinary competitions, you're up against professional chefs and I don't know whatever equipment they're bringing with them. And when you do a KCBS style competition, American style, you're cooking 4 sorts of meat, and you can put a professional chef next to me or somebody else or whatever, and you can beat him. You can easily beat him. And that's the fun thing. Everybody can win from everybody, except if you're called Southern Dutch Barbecue. They win everything. I mean, nah. For starting, if you want to go to a competition, travel light. If you want to go, check the equipment that you absolutely, really need, and take just that. When we went to our first competitions, we had 3 vans, all full of equipment. We built a tent with I don't know what else in it, and it took us half a day to put everything up and more to take it down, and you always bring too much. But that's the first big tip I want to give.
I'm positive. Travel light. What else?
What else? If you're new to KCBS competitions, follow a judge class first. Become a judge. Because if you know what the judges are looking for, you know what to cook.
Okay. And what about the recipes? What meats do you prepare on the competition?
On the competition, you always prepare the 4 same meats. You do chicken, any part of the chicken. How do you want it cooked? That's your choice. You do pork ribs, either baby back ribs, what we call spare ribs, or the St. Louis cut ribs, the very big ones. So from the side of the pig.
From the belly.
Yeah, belly. You have the ribs. Then you have pork shoulder, and then you have brisket.
Okay.
That's the 4 main categories you always cook.
Okay, and so I guess that's it. And tell me about, for example, how do you prepare to the competitions? Do you practice your recipes, or do you just go with the flow when you get there and see what works in front of the judges?
We should practice, but we don't. The competition is our practice.
Okay.
I know it's that sounds really stupid maybe, but it's the way it is.
Why?
It's the thing is also you have to bring your own meat.
Oh, really?
Yes. The meat is not provided by the organizer, so everybody is expected to bring their own meat, and then you prep it. You cut it you trim it down to the right size that you want. There's minimal sizes you have to be aware of. And then you go about, if you go online and you search American style barbecue and recipes, you'll find I don't know how many recipes.
Yeah,
but the one thing that is important is that you are cooking for 6 judges only. That's the only 6 people that matter. And whatever you put inside the box that you turn into the judge, has to be amazing.
Okay.
We call it the one bite wonder.
Okay.
I mean, if you put it in your mouth, you take one bite, you have to blow the judge away.
Okay. And tell me, because I've heard an opinion, actually found it in some book, that on competitions, the food has to be like flashy, that one bite has to be amazing, but that's the kind of food you wouldn't eat more than just just one bite because it would be too much. Is it true?
That's about true, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me translate.
For example, when we cook chicken, we cook like, I say something, 24 chicken thighs, just to get 6, a minimum of 6 to the judges. And we taste them, we take one bite, put it aside. I don't take a second bite of that same chicken. I don't care. I just want to know what one bite is like.
Okay, I get it. And tell me one thing, Wim, because you also went to some American competitions, yes? Am I right? Or?
Yes.
Tell me, what's the difference between Europe and America in terms of competitions, barbecue competitions?
Well, if you do KCBS competitions, and that's the fun thing, there is no difference. There is absolutely no difference. The way the competition is organized, the way the meat is judged, is exactly the same here as it is in the United States.
Okay, and one more thing. And what about the equipment? Do you go with your stuff to America? Do you go with your meat as well? What?
No,
really?
No, because well, actually, the meat we need here. I have to go to like a restaurant wholesaler that sells all special stuff. I can't find it at my local butcher yet. It's starting to change, but. If you want to meat in the United States, you just go to the supermarket. It's there. You just pick it up and like, oh, this looks nice. This is the most beautiful pork shoulder I have ever seen. And just take it up, just pay for it, and that's it. And it's cheap. It's way cheaper than it is in Europe.
And the equipment, do you take it with you, or is it something available in America if you go there?
If you want to go and compete in the United States, you should contact the organizer of the competition and see if we can make some arrangements for you, because it's not doable to take your barbecues on the airplane and take that all too. We were very, very, very lucky because we also organized the very first competition in Belgium, and there we met Byron Chisholm from Butterup. You know Butterup, the barbecue seasoning? Yeah, we met him there, and he invited us to his place, and he invited us to go and compete in the United States. So he took us under his wings, and we had all his equipment available there. And each and every time when we went back to the United States, his equipment was there. We used his enormous trailer to sleep in, to cook in, to do everything. He just drove that thing everywhere, and we were like, woohoo! That's it.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Tell me about some other teams on barbecue competitions. Did it happen to you that you, for example, tried a food on some other team and you thought, wow, this is really disgusting, or maybe not disgusting, but that's a weird taste. Did it happen?
In the early years, back in 2014, when we did our first competitions, there was an enormous amount of drinking going on at the barbecue competition. There was partying. There's still a lot of drinking. There's still a lot of partying, but there are also some of the teams have evolved into a little bit more serious. Because imagine this: if you're doing the competition, you have to count about 500, 600 to 700 euros just to go and compete. Without anything you're drinking or partying with or whatever you're taking with you. But it costs you anywhere between 500 to 700 euros depending on the distance you have to travel. So that's a lot of money. We were doing like 14 competitions in a year. So do the math. That's a lot of money.
Going really fast.
And we were like, we need to get a little bit more serious here if we want to win something. And that's when we also started to win a few things. But in those early days, it was very common to walk into another tent and, oh, what are you cooking? How are you cooking this? Oh, can I try? Yes, of course. Here, try. Up, 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 up. And now you have teams that say, whoa, stop. No. You don't come in. We're cooking. Stay away. Go away. And some of the teams put the trays out with the leftovers, and others just take it with them and never let anybody taste anything. So it depends. It depends. But I have tasted some really, really extremely good barbecue, but I also tasted some extremely, extremely bad barbecue as well.
Okay.
There was this one team that cooked the brisket, and they decided to do a strawberry tingy sauce on the brisket. Yeah, and that was...
That's a win of the idea over the flavor. I understand.
Yeah, that was not good. We never saw those guys again.
They gave up. I understand.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and maybe the last question about competitions. Are there any, I don't know, special tricks that you do, like, I don't know, injecting, brining, or that's probably maybe obvious, but or some X factor, some special spice you use if you go for competitions, like that. Or you don't want to share?
You're cooking for a flavor profile, and that flavor profile is very clear. If you follow the judge class, you know what the judges are looking for. It's made very clear, actually. And in order to achieve that flavor profile, you should have, it's like Blues Hawk sauce wins everything. The judges, but the judges can also tell, like, oh, that's Blues Hawk. They can just take it out by now. Almost everybody is using it. When I do pork shoulders, I no longer inject. I used to inject my pork shoulder with whatever stuff I could find, phosphates, and you know, it's like readily, if you order them online, it's like the competition blends for injecting your meat and everything. And I gave up on that. I decided not to inject anymore, and just to give the meat enough time and let it develop its own flavor, and it's working. To me, that worked. Other thing is do your stuff, wrap your ribs. Wrap them in butcher paper, foil, whatever, but wrap them. That's important. And if you go brisket, you're cooking beef, make sure you're cooking and it still tastes like beef. You have to enhance the beef flavor. The beef flavor is the most important thing there. My brisket was always very pure. There were some seasonings on them, of course, but no sauce. I didn't sauce it. I took the gravy, the au jus that comes out of it, and that's what I put on my brisket, and I made sure that was really flavorful, but still very beefy.
This is very important. Your biggest fuck up as a grill master, was there something like this?
And my biggest fuck ups. How many do you want?
Just one.
One of the bigger ones was we always cook 2 pork shoulders on a competition, and I used to cook on the Smoky Mountain in the 2 levels, and I had to take the top level off and to do something with the lower level. I was like, what? There went 1 pork shoulder into the grass. It just fell to the floor, and it had an, I think the judge's comment card was earthy flavor.
No,
but that's of course things that happened. I dropped a lot of meat. Really dropped a lot of meat, mostly because I was hungover. Sometimes at night when you get up in the early years and you were still drunk from the party and you had to cook something, I mean, that was like,
well,
one time I started cooking at night because I had to put my meats on in the night, and I put the barbecue on, but I kept all the vents closed. So I put the meat on, put the lid on, went back to sleep, and in the morning, yeah, of course, the barbecue was cold because it was out. It had gone out.
I've seen some. I mean, I've heard of. Yeah, it happens. Well, you know, I've seen in one restaurant in Warsaw. I've seen a soup, you know, collected with a mop from the floor. So don't worry. I know some stuff.
And then bring it back into the plates.
Yeah, through a strainer. I've seen it. It was a wedding of the owner of the restaurant. This soup has to be served. Listen, okay, you just mentioned Smoky Mountain. Tell me about your story with Weber, because Weber is the company that actually I met you on some Weber event. And and how about the Weber courses in Belgium? How are they doing? You also have your academy, yeah, Grilling Academy. Do you still do these academies, or is it?
Yeah, but it has been, I mean, barbecue courses in Belgium at the moment are non-existent for the past 2 years because Weber has cancelled everything since the first lockdown in early 2020. So there were no workshops, no nothing. And that same goes for the Grill Academy. We had a few just in between lockdowns and everything, and with extra measures and blah 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 blah. But no, that's for the moment nothing. Just me. I'm doing with my own brand, Burn Barbecue. I'm doing barbecue courses because Weber doesn't do them.
Okay, you know, similar thing happened to me. I mean, we came back between lockdowns for some events, but yeah, that's a shame because it was a nice actually idea, you know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it myself this year. You know, kind of courses with mobile courses traveling around Poland. Okay, so one more question, because you said something about the butchers in Belgium. I don't know if you know it, but I have a family in Belgium. My sister lives there, and yeah, I have to ask you about the beef, because what really I found it really surprising. The first time I went there, there's like thousands of cows everywhere, really good looking limousines, you know, Anguses and everything. And then I went to a butcher store, and it was really hard to find any marbling compared to Polish beef. It was really like, you know, plain with no fat at all. And I was wondering, is it because of the free range, you know, grass-fed kind of breeding, or did I just go to a wrong butcher shop? What's up with the beef in Belgium? Tell me.
Well, our national breed of beef is the Belgian blue white, and that's very meaty, but also very lean, very lean. It's really lean meat, and that's the thing you commonly will find at a butcher.
I see.
All the special cuts, I mean, lots of them are made for dairy. Milk, they're made for milk, they're kept for milk, but you have to go to, like, there are a few specialized butchers that are in the market and doing things like, they have the Limousin, they have the Holstein, they have everything. But you have to find them, but your local butcher around the corner probably only has this.
Yeah,
blue
you know,
white.
my sister lives in the countryside, so maybe that's the reason, because there's plenty of breeding places. But if you go to a butcher store, it's like not too much of a choice.
No.
Okay, so when we started talking, if we started talking about Belgium, tell me what's special about barbecue in Belgium. What's your favorite food? Because in Poland we have sausage. This is like each grill party has to have a sausage, you know, and each grill has to, but I was thinking about Belgium, is it French fries with mayo or something else?
French fries, mayo, a lot, and Belgian waffles, yes. A lot of Belgian waffles. No, steak.
Steak? Yeah.
We love to grill steak. Yeah, we love to grill steaks.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
We
and
really like to grill steaks. And sausage, we have your basic sausage you're going to find here is chipolata, the round thingy, and brochette. You know what that is? That's a skewer with all the meat on, with all the meat in cubes on it, the brochette we call that. That's also at every barbecue. You must have brochette, chipolata, and probably steak. Oh, and chicken, maybe chicken.
Okay,
but especially cooked really dry.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Really
chicken or steak?
Chicken dry.
Chicken. I see. Okay. And but steak, is it like really traditional, or is it just something new that's just appeared in Belgium within, I don't know, last 10 or 20 years, or is it like beef?
No, it's like steak frites is like our national dish.
Okay.
That's what we love the most, and so that's why steak is yeah.
Okay. Where to find some knowledge? Do you check some YouTube channels or some books? What would you suggest?
There's one if you're talking knowledge. There's one website I really frequently visit, and that's AmazingRibs.com.
Is it this guys? Hold on.
Yep, Meathead.
Okay.
I love his scientific approach on barbecue. Yeah. I really love it. I mean, it's so interesting, and you learn a lot.
Do you agree with everything?
Do I agree with everything? Maybe not everything. No, no. Sometimes, yeah, it's a little bit far-fetched, but I do like what he's doing, and yeah.
It's an amazing book, really amazing. What's the name of the website once again? Ribs?
AmazingRibs.com.
Amazing Ribs, yeah, AmazingRibs.com. And how about some special courses? For example, I don't know, some barbecue courses outside of Belgium, or maybe outside of Europe, or maybe places to go for, I don't know, stash, or where should you go to eat to get to know, for example, American barbecue? Or no idea like this? You only know Weber.
Obviously, I don't know any addresses in Poland. Very sorry, but in Belgium we have a few good. If you have, or in Holland, if you have the restaurants of Jort Althuizen, you know him, Jort from Holland.
Once again, who?
Jort Althuizen. Ever heard of the guy? Black Smoke is his restaurant. And he has a restaurant in Antwerp and one in Holland, I think in Amsterdam. That's really good. That's actually, that's the closest thing we have to a real good restaurant with American style barbecue. It's maybe a little bit too fancy. I'm still looking for the real barbecue shack to appear, like where you have to go in line and then sit at a plastic table and eat your barbecue like it is in the United States. But if you ever go to the United States, you'll find in the southern states, you'll find plenty of barbecue shacks to check out and try. And I tried a few, of course not all of them important, not possible. But we did Fox Barbecue. We did I can't remember them all. Martin's Barbecue Joint, Nashville we did. Yeah, it's quite a few actually.
Yeah, it's really amazing. If you know, for me the only experience in America was I just took one small peek at the barbecue competition in 2001 actually, and back then I was actually, for me, because that was a rib cooking competition, rib cook-off in Nevada. And 20 years ago in Poland, what we knew, what was just sausage or maybe, blood sausage or something like this. And then I went to America and saw ribs being cooked for hours and hours and amazing, taste and flavors. And then I realized it's something really, really different. And we are, we lost many decades, compared to America. But in Poland, we are actually really, I think, moving forward. So
I think it's happening everywhere in Europe. It's happening everywhere. Yeah. It's really interesting to see.
Gadamy sobie tutaj właśnie o konkursach, w ogóle o amerykańskim barbecue, jak to wygląda. Wim parę miejsc przytoczył, w których warto zjeść. No i faktycznie cała Europa idzie do przodu w związku z tym. uczymy się coraz więcej. You know, for me, the best example of Poland moving forward is actually this group we are now being live on, Grillowa Brać.
Yeah.
There's 70,000 people really interested in this kind of stuff. So
yeah.
A few years ago in Poland, you know, we when we started going for Weber showcases, Weber demos, we were showing steaks. People had no idea what we are talking about and why to leave beef for 60 days or for 90 days, you know, in some kind of fridge that costs 10,000 euros, for example. It was really, really weird for them. Yeah.
It's the same development in Belgium, actually. We have the Belgian barbecue group that's around 30,000 members. And it's also exploded the last few years. I mean, it's like, yeah. You see all these wonderful creations, and everybody's trying pulled pork now. Everybody is trying rib and wow, and
pulled everything, even pulled mushroom. There's a question from people from people listening to us. What's the hardest thing to judge in barbecue competitions? When you're a judge, I understand.
The hardest thing about being a judge is you cannot compare what's in front of you. So you have like 6 samples in front of you from 6 different teams, and you sample number 1, and you have to score that. And then you like say the maximum score is a 9. That's the maximum you can give. And you say, wow, this was really good. I'll give it a 9. And then the second thing comes, and then, whoa, this is a lot better. But I can't give anything more than a 9. Oh wait, but you cannot go back and say, no, I'm going to give you an 8, and I'm going to give you the 9.
Oh my God.
You cannot compare. So if it's good, it's good. And that mindset is the most difficult thing about being a judge. And the hardest thing to judge for me is brisket. It's the hardest thing to cook. That's also the hardest thing to judge.
One more thing about judging and about food in competitions. Okay, taste is one thing. Okay, and what about, for example, I don't know, a structure of the meat? Yeah, like does the judge also check, for example, the doneness of the meat? Yeah.
Yes, it's checked on 3 criteria. There are 3 criteria. The first one is appearance. What does it look like? Do I want to eat it? Does it look good? It's the easiest points you can get. Just put some effort into the meat and putting it nice into the box, and you're good. Then it's taste. Does it taste good? Do I like it? And then there's tenderness. Is it cooked right? Is it well done? Is it not raw? Is it undercooked? Is it overcooked? No. Is it good? That's tenderness. That's the 3rd criteria.
Wim, let me check if we have more questions.
I have one here from Alexander. What are the must-have grill accessories?
Okay. I know this guy. I'm sure he means Weber accessories.
All of them.
Okay.
For me, the most important thing is a good grill brush, a high-quality grill brush. So, no, all the companies, okay. No, a high-quality grill brush. Don't buy cheap ones. If these little metal hairs come off and get into your food and you eat them, that's nasty. So that's why invest in a quality grill brush or 2 or 3, so you can keep them clean. Just don't use them all year long. Like I'm still cleaning my grill. No, you have to clean them. A good pair of tongs to grab the meat. That's always interesting, and maybe a good thermometer.
Okay, so when we started talking about the equipment, there's a question from me. There's an island. You want to move to the island. You have a rowing boat. There's no people living there, but there's beef. There's seafood on the island. And what grill do you take with you on your rowing boat? You can pick only one. What's your grill of a choice forever?
On that island?
Or smoker, of course. Yeah.
Is there electricity on the island? No.
That's a good question. Because people usually say, "Oh, I'm taking Genesis." Are you stupid? There's no propane on.
Yeah, if there is electricity, I'll take my smoke fire and a bag.
No electricity. Sorry.
No electricity. Smoky Mountain.
Smoky Mountain. Okay.
Oh, that's the dog that's going to go on the smoker in a few moments if he keeps doing that.
There's a question in English, if you see it. What you prefer, charcoal briquettes or lamp coal? Very good question. What's your answer?
Depends a little bit on what you want to cook. Lump charcoal has the tendency to go very high in temperature, but then lose that energy really quick. And if you do, well, not all of them, if you have the really professional one and the really good one, it keeps its temperature a little bit longer. But the briquettes don't go that high, but keep their temperature a lot longer and a lot steadier. I'm always cooking on briquettes, always, all the time.
Okay.
Just because it's easy, and you can relight them, you can reuse them when they're finished. I'm cheap on that thing, but no, but it's it's really reliable. Yeah. So I prefer briquettes.
One more question from me about, for example, I don't know, wood chips versus pieces of wood, or maybe some sorts of wood. Do you see a difference between, I don't know, if you're using an apple or mesquite, or what's your favorite wood to be used in smoking?
It depends on what I'm cooking again. I really like to. I mean, if you take your fruit woods, apple, pear, cherry, they're mild. They're really mild in smoke intensity. Then the nut trees like hickory and walnut and pecan, whatever. They're a little bit more intense. And then your mesquite is like all the way up there together with oak. And the Jack Daniels flavored wood snippers, they're actually really harsh in flavor and in smoke intensity. So yeah, I'm always looking at what I'm cooking and smoke wood that I can use with that. It's usually with most brands, it's on the bag, what they're good for. The one thing I do not do is soak them in water, the smoke chips.
You don't?
I do not soak them in water. No.
Okay.
That has something to do.
Say about it.
Yeah. It's on the bag that you have to soak them in water. But if you're looking at smoke, you need the good kind of smoke, and the good kind of smoke is a smoke that's almost not there, or a little bit bluish. And if you take wet wood and you throw it on fire, it doesn't burn well. And it creates this very thick smoke. And I don't like that on my food.
I know.
So I would put dry wood chips on it. It takes a little bit more. You need a little bit more, but you'll get the good smoke flavor.
But, what's your favorite style of barbecue sauce? And maybe some wrap. Do you also, I don't know, like have your favorite brand of wraps except for yours, of course, or do you just use your imagination or your wraps?
Well, for my cooking, for my takeaway business, I'm using all my own wraps. Of course, on competition, I'm using other wraps. It's like, and I'm use butter rub, then I use more the real American style rubs. And the sauce, I like my barbecue sauce sweet and sticky.
Okay.
That's what I like most. I make my own barbecue sauce. No, I'm more of a sweet kind of barbecue sauce.
Okay, Wim, thank you very much. It was an awesome talk. I really think people from Poland found plenty of inspiration and ideas. And I think there will be plenty of Polish people on some competitions within next year.
Excellent. Looking forward to that.
I'm pretty sure. Thank you for your experience and your tips and tricks and everything. And we'll get back with the contest next week. Yeah?
All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.